Hey the field travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Granada, Spain, and right behind me you have the Alhambra, one of the things you have to do when you come here. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting Granada. So before I get into the don'ts to talk about the food, the sights, how to get around, all kinds of those things, there's one don't we have to start with, and that is don't forget to pre-book your tickets to the Alhambra, because you think you're just going to walk up and get a ticket. It's probably not going to happen because it books out not just days in advance, not just weeks in advance, but sometimes months in advance during peak season. It can book out. So once you know you're coming to Granada, go online and book your tickets. They're timed tickets, okay? And it's important you know what those times are, okay? And I'll talk about that later, but really, don't forget to pre-book your tickets. Just do it now. Don't put it off. You're going to be upset if you don't get in to see this, because this is the most important site here and one of the most visited sites in Spain that you really have to go see, okay? Another don't I have for you when you're looking at the palaces and you're buying the different tickets, because don't forget there's many different tickets. That's one key thing. But don't think the Nazaret Palace and the Carlos V Palace are the same thing. The Nazaret Palace, that's the one you want to go to that has all the geometric things. It's just really, 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 really cool. Carlos V Palace, it's home of the Museum of Fine Arts, but it's different. It's more of a royal residence from like a Renaissance vibe to it. So make sure it's Nazaret. You really want to make sure you get the tickets for. Hey, they've got signs to tell you this. One, don't be late for your tour at the Alhambra, because if you're going to go to the Palacios Nazares, realize that it takes about 15 minutes to get there from the entrance. And they even say right here, remember that you will only be able to access the palaces at the time printed on your ticket. So when you're moving in, where you're going, it's 15 minutes to get there. So if it says you have a 2 p.m. ticket, that's to get into those palaces, not to go into the front gates. So make sure you go so you don't lose out on time, because if you show up late, they might not let you in, because you only get about a half-hour window basically to get in there. So don't take a chance. Be there a little bit early so when they let in for your time period, you can get in, because that's the thing you don't want to miss out on. So when you're coming here to the Alhambra, I also need to mention this. Don't forget to bring your ID. I mean, if you got your passport with you, you need to have it with you. Whatever you use to sign up for your ticket, you need to have that, because honestly, when you're in there, people do ask for your passport or your ID occasionally to check to make sure your ticket is your ticket. So make sure you have the right ID. Otherwise, you could get in trouble and be asked to leave, because they do this to make sure people aren't passing their tickets out. Like someone up there drops their ticket down to a friend and they come through. No, they do check. So just be aware of that. So have your ID, make sure everything's in there correctly so you don't have any problems. So when you're here at the Alhambra, don't think it's a quick thing you can do. Like, oh, we'll spend an hour and be out of here. You need to spend time. Don't shorten your trip here. Spend the time to explore the gardens, the palaces, everything, because you're going to need a lot of time walking around to take everything in. Use the restrooms when you can find them. I'm going to tell you that one right now, but honestly, just going around everywhere, seeing all the things takes a lot of time. So make sure you schedule the time for it. That's why it's important when you're planning your time here, that you actually, when you have your entry time, make sure you have it set up so you have time to explore more, okay? And then you can see my student Tyler walking right there, trying to get in the video. So another don't I have for you is don't think that Granada is a one-night wonder. I mean, yes, the Alhambra is here, and I've talked about all the other stuff we have, or we'll talk about this in this video, but what you need to realize when you come to Granada, how it's set up, you can really experience Spanish culture and really relax when you're here. This is one of the best places just to chill out, kick back, enjoy the tapas, enjoy the culture, and enjoy the people when you're here. That's why so many students love studying abroad here, because it's such a kind of chillax, fun place to be. So don't think of it as this one-day wonder, okay? Go and stay here. Come and stay here for a few days. You won't regret it. If you're coming to the Alhambra in the summer, it gets incredibly hot here in Granada. In the Alhambra, there's not really a place for you to get a drink or anything, so I do recommend bring a bottle of water, put it in your backpack before you go, because you're going to want to spend a lot of time here. When it's 110 degrees, heat index, you're not going to feel like you're going to be able to survive. You need that water to be safe. And take time to relax, because you're not always packed with people. Sometimes you're walking around, it's pretty empty, so you can actually get a chance to cool off and not be around everybody, so you get a chance for that. So just be safe when you are here, okay? Now, if you don't want to pay, but you do want to see some of the Alhambra, you can actually come up, and part of it you don't have to pay for. You can walk up here, see the outside of the Carlos V Palace, you can check that out. You've got the church up here, you can see the baths are on the outside up there. There's another entry into the Alhambra up there. But honestly, you can just come by, walk around, take this in, take in the views as well, in case you did come here and you did not get your ticket booked beforehand. Hence why I mentioned that first, okay? But yeah, you can come up here and just see some beautiful things, okay? So don't worry. don't worry. If you didn't get that ticket pre-booked, you can still get some views and check out a few things. Now, a food don't I have for you when you come here to Granada is don't forget about tapas when you're here in Granada, because I'm so happy to say this. Here in Granada, you still get free tapas quite a bit of the time. Now, not every time. It's not like it used to be where literally was every drink you got something different, you got a bit something. But if you've been to Barcelona or Madrid or Sevilla, you've noticed that tapas you're usually paying for, or if you get some free tapas, it might be some olives or some potato chips. Here you get legit tapas that they're going to be giving you. So whether it's our croquetas or some of the great cheese that's around here, there's some great goat cheese you can get from around here. You got to have when you're here. You can get that, but you actually get like good tapas for free, which is awesome, because that's one of the things that really makes it great coming here, because you meet the locals when you're at the tapas place, and you can save some money. Now, maybe not get dinner because you have a few drinks with your tapas as it comes in, so that's kind of cool. But if you do want to get more of those tapas, don't forget, you can order a ración or a plato to get more. But yeah, like the free tapas thing, don't miss out on that when you're here. It's awesome. So when you walk around Granada, I want to tell you, don't get freaked out if you get lost in some of the neighborhoods, especially the Albaycin neighborhood, which is all the windy streets you're going through, and it's like really amazing to explore. But it's very easy to get off track, so don't freak out. There's plenty of people you can ask for directions, and it might not always be super helpful with the directions, but eventually you'll find a great view of the Alhambra when you're walking around. But just know, getting lost and walking around here is part of the charm, so don't freak out if it happens. You'll be okay. Just sit down, have some tea, have a drink, you'll be fine. Have a snack, have some of the pastries. That's one thing. Don't forget to stop at the pastries when you're here in Granada. There's tons of great ones out here, and if you get some of the, Moroccan influenced ones, the Moorish influenced ones that people say, think about it. If it's got puff pastry and nuts and honey, it's probably going to be from there. They're going to be good. Another don't I have for you, if you're going to be walking around Granada, going to explore the neighborhoods, don't think it's going to be flat like Sevilla or Cordoba if you were there before. A lot of the Granada neighborhoods are on hills, so you're going to be hiking up and exploring and seeing things. And in that heat, it can be a little tough sometimes, so just be aware of that. It's not just because I'm fat and out of shape. I'm just letting you know that it's a lot of up and down when you're going to be walking around to get some of these great views. So just heads up on the right shoes. There's a lot of times where you get a great view of the Alhambra, but I got to tell you, don't pass up the Mirador San Nicholas, because this is the best view of the Alhambra. This is where you're going to take your Christmas card. We've actually done that for our Christmas card before when we're here. It's a nice plaza you can kind of hang out in. There's some place to go up here if you want to grab a drink after the walk up here, because remember, those steps in the hills get a bit much, but you cannot beat that view when you're up here. So don't forget, it's worth the hike to get the best view from the San Nicholas, the Mirador San Nicholas, because look at that. Beautiful. You see the mountains behind it. What more can you ask for? Oh, and if you're in the winter and it's snowing, this is just gorgeous as gorgeous can be. One thing that's great when you come to Granada is the fact that it's kind of out on its own. It's not by any other major cities, so people have to make it a point to come to Granada. So the tourists that come here are much more focused on enjoying Granada, as opposed to, Granada is just something I'm doing because I'm at the beach or because I'm doing something else. And so the tourists that come here actually are pretty good. And the thing is, if you're looking to come here, since you have to make it a point to come here, if you take the fast train, it's like 3.5 hours from Madrid. You can take some other combination trains, 4.5 hours. If you're over in Cordoba, it's an hour and a half on the train, on the AVE train, or you can take a bus for, 2 to 3 hours to get here. You have options to get here, but really is, you're coming here to do that. So don't forget your options to get here. There are a lot, but also don't worry about the tourists when you're here, because they're really focused on making sure they get to the Alhambra, making sure they're enjoying, the cathedral and seeing the royal, chapel and stuff. So it's definitely a different vibe of when you're coming here to Spain, like what you're getting with the tourist stuff, this tourist vibe. So just know that we're all just trying to get to see that. That's our main goal. All right. So just another don't I thought I'd come up with for you. So obviously don't miss out on going to the cathedral when you're here. And one thing I can tell you is don't be surprised how big it is inside. Like, this place is huge. It's one of the largest churches in Spain. And it's quite impressive when you look at the size, especially from outside and inside. So it's really nice. But there are some don'ts. If you're going to be doing a day trip here, make sure you don't have a bag that's too big. It'll say no suitcases. It also says no backpacks. But if you have a smaller backpack, they've let everybody in. But one thing I want you to know, because some people did get turned away because they had too big of backpacks and suitcases. So do be aware of that. It's like five euros to come in. Line takes a little bit of time, but it's worth coming in. You can actually, don't forget, you can pre-book your ticket, so you can just skip that line and come in and check in when you get here to the cathedral, so that can save you some time. So but it's beautiful with the chapels and just like the Just insane size this. And don't forget, the Royal Chapel is not in the cathedral. It's next to it. So this is not where you're going to go. You're going to go around the way to go in. Also, when you do go into the Royal Chapel, the Capilla Royal, there is no photos, there is no pictures, so I can't show you anything in there, but it is really, really cool with the tombs. You can go down and see the lead-lined coffins where Ferdinand and Isabella are at. But one thing I'd say is look at the altar and look at the detail when you go into the Royal Chapel, because they'll show like Christians getting boiled in oil, and they'll show John the Baptist decapitated, but usually you just see his head. They have the head and the body, and you could see the anatomically correct things popping out of his neck. I mean, it's quite an intense thing, so just take a look at it when you are there, but it is worth going through. But I just want to give you a heads up about it. Don't think it's here right with the cathedral. It's just around the corner. And yeah, you don't get to take pictures or photos there. Oh, another thing to be aware of when you are coming out of the cathedral or you're coming out of the Royal Chapel, don't be surprised if there's people trying to give you sprigs like rosemary. They might say it's free or it's a gift. Just know when you give it to them, they're going to expect something back. So even though it's a free gift, they're expecting a donation or something, and don't let them harass you. Some do, some just walk away. Just remember, no gracias, just walk on by. Just give you a heads up for that one. When you are here in Granada, do not mess with the weather when you're here. And I say the weather because there's two ways it can be. If you come here in the summertime, the sun will really beat down on you. You even see they have the coverings on some of the pedestrian walkways to help protect you from the sun. So make sure you have your sombrero to take care of yourself. But also, I would say be careful in the winter as well, because it does snow here. Yes, if you come here in the wintertime, you can have snow on the Alhambra. So make sure you're packing for that as well, because some people think, oh, the beach is only like an hour away, so it must be warm here all the time. No, we have the Sierra Nevadas right by here, those mountain ranges. That mountain range is right there. So we are a bit higher up, and so it does get chilly here in the winter. So don't forget both sides of the weather when you do come, okay? There is no doubt there is a lot of Moorish history here in Granada. I mean, it's incredible whether you're looking at the Alhambra or maybe to go to the Banuelos, the Arab baths you can check out when you're here. That's really cool for some history stuff too. But when you find out like churches were built on former mosques, you see the layout of the city, you really see that Moorish influence. So don't forget about the Moorish influence of the city, because you really see it. However, I got to tell you this. Don't think that everything that is kind of like made to feel like it's Moorish or Moroccan or whatever is actually something that's been here for 500, 800 years, because having come here for the last, 15, 20 years, I have noticed a lot more Moroccan restaurants pop up, a lot more like Arabian tea places pop up, and don't think that that's like a traditional Granada thing. That is a new traditional, let's help the tourists separate themselves from their Euros when they're here in Granada thing. So do be aware of that. So that's why it's one of those things when you're like, you see all the Moroccan restaurants, realize that's more of a new thing. That's not something that's been here forever. So if you're exploring neighborhoods around Granada, don't forget to go to the Sacramento neighborhood, because that is where you'll find the cuevas, the caves. Like there's actually houses built into the caves. There's theaters basically built in the caves. And the thing is, that's where you want to go and see flamenco. So don't pass up going to see flamenco when there's Sacramento neighborhood, when you're here in Granada, because that's, as some people say, this is the birthplace of flamenco, but you have really good shows there, and that's their place to be, and how it's in the caves just makes it extra cool. Another don't I have for you if you're going to the Sacramento neighborhood, or just from that name, if anybody ever offers you Tortilla de Sacon, don't eat it. Well, you can try it. It's made out of brains, so that might be influencing your choices, so think about that. So yeah, brains might not be something you want to eat when you are here, but don't forget some of the local specialties you can have. And one, I kind of want to call it an orange and codfish salad. And basically it's oranges and codfish and olives and spring onions together. Remojon is what it's called. I mean, they have it in different parts of the country. This is their version of it here. So here's the orange and codfish salad I was talking about. It is an acquired taste, I'm sure of that. It's not bad though. I was expecting something much more different, but it actually kind of works together. So it's not actually bad at all. So yeah, you can try it. Another of those local dishes you should have when you're here, and I kind of look at it more as a, I guess I'd call it a Granada goulash. It's the plato alpujarreño. Yes, I know I'm butchering it. I'm horrible at this, but it's basically you got like diced up potatoes, eggs, sausage, chorizo, black pudding in there, or black sausage, however you like to call it. And it's all kind of mixed together. Like that's one thing you can have when you're here. If you're looking for something a little more simple, you get the habas con jamón, which is just, ham and beans. Like that's actually my dad ate like 5 times when we were here with him. So we like that. If you're looking for something sweet, you got the pio nono. And basically, think of it as a jelly roll. That'd be a nice way to put it with cream in it. So that's the best way to look at it. But it's a nice little treat to have. You're looking for something sweet. But also, when you're here, there's a lot of bakeries. And I know I made my comments about there's new Moorish traditions here, but the Moroccan, bakeries that are here, they do have some great pastries. So when they come up with, the puff pastry, and there's nuts and honey, you can't go wrong with that either. But I will add on with the food things. Don't worry if you go eat Moroccan food. That's all I'm going to say. So I know we're talking a lot about the Alhambra and the cathedral and the royal chapel when you're coming here to Granada. And I want you to know this. Don't think that Granada is just the Alhambra or just the cathedral and the church there. There's a lot more stuff to see when you're here. I mean, just think about it. When you look at the Alhambra, don't you see those mountains behind there? You have the Sierra Nevada that you can go hiking in the summer. You can go skiing in the winter, so you have that. But also in town, you have the Carmen de los Mártires gardens you can go to that are beautiful to check out. You got the San Juan de Dios Basilica, which isn't really too cool from the outside, but it looks pretty cool on the inside. Like a lot of the churches when you're coming to Spain, like, oh, that's nice outside. And you walk in, you're like, whoa, that's cool. We've got markets you can go to when you're here. You've got the Granada Science Parks. If you want something a little more hands-on sciencey stuff that's not old world things, you can do that too. Also, you might notice they have a strange love affair with Washington Irving, the author. You have that. But also, I mean, literally an hour away, you can hit the beaches too. So you can have the mountains, the beaches, the culture, all kinds of stuff when you come here to Granada. Oh, hey, with all those hills and all the steps and everything, don't think you have to do it all on your own, because there is actually a tourist train that will take you around and take you some of the Miradors, like the San Nicholas Mirador goes up by there, can take you up by the Alhambra, let you see some of the sights without doing all the hiking around. So that could be really good, especially if you have bad knees or if you're not in the best of shape, because I've seen a lot of people huffing and puffing, not just me, but young people, old people. So that might be something you want to do, especially if you're going to come with your parents. Maybe a nice little way to go around is to take that tourist train up and down the hills, because, yeah, you'll get a nice, good, strong butt if you've been here for a while. Oh, don't think it's just the tourist train. You can actually take the public transport around. There's bigger buses. There's these smaller buses that come up to the Alhambra. You do have multiple options out there, so don't be afraid to take the bus. There's obviously taxis, and there's other rideshare programs here you can use as well. But honestly, public transportation, it's cheap. It gets you everywhere you want to go. And what's cool, they have it set up that actually goes to the main tourist sites versus you having to switch. So that's really cool. So I hope you liked all of our don'ts. I mean, obviously there's a lot of do's in there too. If you want to learn more, maybe what to do when you're in Cordoba or what you're not supposed to do when you're in Sevilla, check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on all the social media platforms. You have a great time here in Granada, because honestly, it's a fantastic place. And if you have other do's and don'ts, please put it down in the comments section below so travelers can learn even more about this beautiful city so they get even more out of their trip. Bye from here in Granada.